Hello. How's it going?
It's going. It's going good.
So happy to be here today with Jay Wallace. I'm Debbie Fisher, and I do these hippie stories, videos, memories of Woodstock from folks who actually attended Woodstock back in August of 1969. And Jay is a lovely musical friend also. He plays the harmonica, and with pretty much everyone in Sullivan County in 2025 is what we're in now. And Jay is very active, and his wife Catherine, they attend all the musical gatherings, play with folks like Robert Tellefson. Anyway, welcome Jay Wallace.
All right, thank you.
And I'm turning it over to you to
We're open mic junkies.
Yeah, just share what you like. Tell us about yourself, maybe where you're from and how you got to it, whatever.
You know, I'm a native New Yorker, born in the Bronx, Arthur Avenue and 182nd Street. It was the cross street. It's right before the Italian neighborhood there, that intersection. And then we moved around everywhere. And then I guess I started running away early, so that's why I was I have these stories because I was an adventurer, and learned how to jump on freight trains at about 15, and so fast forward in 1969, I happened to be in Okinawa in the Marines.
How old were you
So
then?
I just turned 18. I went in at 17. I got my mom to sign the papers.
So you're a veteran.
I'm a veteran.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you.
Yeah, it was. It was a thing to do. You know, we were 60, 68, 69, 60, 68 is when I went in, and it was a thing to do. You know, we were all high school friends, and I didn't make it through high school, but anyway, everybody was joining the Marines, so we did it. But anyway,
Hoorah!
Hoorah, hoorah! So when that was over, though, I got back to where was my mom? My mom was in Bergenfield. She had moved from Bloomfield to Bergenfield, bought a house.
Is that New Jersey?
Bergenfield, New Jersey,
Oh.
yes. And I decided that I had to travel. I had to do something. And I headed out, just got on the road, and somehow I ended up in New Orleans. And I don't remember how I even got to New Orleans, but I remember New Orleans wandering around, and there was a lot of street people. It was 1970. I just got out, late 69, 1970 when I got out, and there was a lot of people living out in the streets and hanging out in parks and stuff. Not really living in the streets, but people had crash pads. You know, there was always a crash pad back then. Back in the day, even in the Keys, you go to the Keys, there was crash pads. There was 5, 6 hippies living in there. You know,
It was the height of the hippie era.
It was really
right? Late
right.
60s.
Oh yeah,
right,
exactly. So go out to the Keys. When I was out in the Keys, I was out there. I'd gotten a job in Key Largo at a restaurant. It was the only buffet. It was the only restaurant with a buffet in the Keys, and it was right there at first. It was over there by the theater, by the movie theater. So I had Sundays off, and I would go down to the Keys, and we go and you go to the library area there, and there was palm trees, and people would leave boxes full of fruits and some vegetables.
Wow.
And then people would also that was in that point. And then there was, you go down by the water, and there was a big huge pot, and everybody bought food from wherever they could, and we cooked and had music and we talked and partied a little bit. Always scared you couldn't smoke too much weed because
it wasn't legal then?
No. No, not at all. But anyway, it was so cool. I mean, and and so and because I see I was a worker, right? And I was a working hippie. I never I didn't experience the Dead shows and all that because I was busy running, doing things. But anyway, so the best story about hitchhiking that I can remember in the hippie days is, it's a short one. I got to this spot somewhere in California on the side of the road there, and I get off and there's like a line. There's maybe 10 people ahead of me, and so all of a sudden somebody breaks out a bottle of Boone's Farm, and then somebody else
What
has
is that?
Boone's Farm is a wine.
Okay.
The Boone's Farm wine was back in the day. That's what we drank a lot.
Homemade wine?
No, it was
a store
it was
bought?
sweet. It was sweet.
Oh, okay.
It was like a sweet wine. It was
Okay.
it was called Boone's Farm, and
Okay.
it was easy to buy. And
Right.
It was cheap.
Gotcha.
And so we'd break out a bottle of Boone's Farm, and then somebody else has got a jug that they're blowing into. I'm playing a harmonica, somebody's playing a guitar,
Ah.
and we're having fun. Well, eventually, I'm sitting there hours. Sometimes you had to wait hours because there was so many
And
people.
this was after your Florida.
This was
Key
after.
Largo.
This was
After Key Largo.
No, this was
Or
probably
before.
before then.
Oh,
This was-
before.
This was before that.
So sometimes
So as soon as I got out of the service, I'm
you
sorry.
were doing your
Yeah,
hitchhiking and your
I skipped ahead and went
That's
back.
okay. So we just that's
there you
cool.
go.
I was just trying to put it into perspective.
Yeah, perspective
So
is
now
that
you're in California.
I-
You're doing this jug band situation
no.
No?
That was in
or a jam, impromptu
that
jam.
that was in Florida in the Keys.
Okay.
In the Keys, we're playing, and
Okay.
then everybody would split up, and we go to the crash pads,
Oh,
and
right.
then people go out during the day and do what they do, make money. However, a lot of panhandling back
So
then.
before the Keys, I didn't mean
Yeah,
to
so
interrupt
before
you.
the Keys,
You're in
to
California.
back off.
Drinking the Boone's Farm
get.
wine.
I know. Anyway, so I know it. I confused it.
It's
Anyway,
okay.
so I got out of the service, get back to my mom's, and I decide I want to get out of here.
Yeah.
And so I get on the road, I start hitchhiking, and like I said, I don't remember how I got there, but I got to New
Yeah.
Orleans,
Okay.
and there was this family of people there, and they call themselves the Bear family, and because they did a bunch of acid, went to a concert, did a bunch of acid, and somebody was like, oh, there's Papa Bear, or there's Flower Bear, because they were sitting next to a bear, or to a flower, and I was like, "Christ, these people are crazy, I got to get out of here. And so I started getting out, and
Excuse me 1 second. Do you think the bear had anything to do with the Grateful Dead?
no,
Okay,
no,
I just
it,
thought
it
I'd
might
ask.
have, it might have,
You
it
know,
might
the
have, because
choice of calling it bear
but
family.
yeah, bears. You're right, exactly, because in 1970, Grateful Dead was very popular. People were my tie-dye guy, Ken Ramsey. He used to sell peanut butter sandwiches, grilled cheese sandwiches.
Okay. So
Make,
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no,
so-
that's cool. So the Bear family. That's right, the Bear family. So anyway, I'm like, oh, these people are crazy, and I got to get out of here. So I started hitchhiking out, and this girl picks me up. Her name was Nancy, and real long hair, Cajun, like a Cajun girl. And she said, "Where you going?" I said, I'm not getting out of here." I said, "This place is nuts." She said, "Oh no." She said, "You can't leave with that attitude." I was like, "What?" And she said, "Yeah, Mardi Gras is coming up." She said, "You got to stay." So she takes me to this house, wakes these two dudes up. I don't remember their names, but it was a white dude with royal long hair and this black guy with a big fro, and wakes them up, and they go underneath the couch, and they pull out a box of weed, and we smoked a couple joints. And I stayed the next week and a half, and we went to all these different parishes, and I made Swedish meatballs, but because that was the thing to do. You make something to bring it, bring it out,
Like
bring
a
it
potluck.
to the potluck thing. Yeah. But I had jambalaya, andouille sausage, all the different meals that they do. It was great. So I hung out, and in between, I saw this bus broken down, and these kids were standing in front of it, and they had a sign up that said, "Trying to get back to our commune, donations."
Oh,
So I gave them $1, and I said, "What's the deal on this commune? What's a commune?" I didn't know. They said, "Oh, commune." I said, "Yeah, that's where everybody shares." And there's this place called Wheeler's Ranch, and it's 100 acres run by Bill and Sarah Wheeler. And he said, "Come on up." And I said, well, where is it? He said, 8 miles west of Santa Rosa, Occidental, California. So I headed out. I headed out. And so that, one of the first memories I have on that was my first really big trip without running away. And I was legal now. Except for I smoke weed and got to worry about that. But anyway, so now I'm on the side of the road and we're all partying and I fall asleep. And the next thing you know, somebody taps me on the shoulder. Say, hey, here's your ride. And here's all my stuff.
Wow.
I get up and I go in and there's a van and there's like 3 or 4 other hippies in there. She says, hey, yeah, man, come on, get in. All right, I get in there, smoking a joint, drinking some more wine, and we head on down the road. That was actually what the movement was about, the hippie movement about going
Sure.
traveling across country.
Yeah. That was in the early
Excuse me.
70s, late 60s, early 70s.
That would be 1970.
70.
And so the next thing, this is a great adventure here. One second.
I'm getting excited just listening to it. You know, imagining it, being on this adventure, like how fun would that be?
So I'm in San Antonio. I hitchhiked to San Antonio, and I meet this guy, and he says, "Oh yeah, man, we'll jump on this train, and it'll take us to El Paso. It's because it's a long way.
Yeah.
He said it's hard getting a ride in between San Antonio and El Paso." I was like, "Cool." He said, we're going to jump on this a piggyback." He called it. I said, "A piggyback." I didn't know what a piggyback was. We used to ride in the cars. So he gives me this plastic raincoat, and he's got the rubber one, and we get on the train, and it's a piggyback is what the back of the tractor trailers, those trailers, they put them on trains. Well, we're behind the wheel, and we get out in the desert, and it's like, it gets cold, and it's like a, I don't know, 10, 11 hour trip.
Wow.
It's freezing.
How do you hold on?
You just hunker down and just hunker down. You don't have to hold on because you're behind the wheel, so you can't roll forward.
Right.
I mean, you could maybe bounce or something.
Keep
but
talking. I'm just going to shut the window because it's getting cold.
Yeah, a little bit chilly.
Go ahead. Keep telling. So you hunkered down behind the wheel.
So hunkered down behind the wheel, and it's freezing. It's freezing, and I'm wondering, man, when are we going to get there? When are we going to get there? I'm saying to myself, I'll never do this again. This is not the way to travel. But anyway, so finally the train stops in the middle of nowhere, and at night it was like late in the morning, and I'm like, wow, what's going on? And I got off because I was freezing. I was trying to get myself warm. And I looked up at the back of the train and back then they had cabooses, and there was linemen. That's where they stay, the switchmen and stuff. So we go back. I look back there, and there's a fire going. I was like, "Oh hell yeah!" So I walked to the back of the train, and there's all these other people that were on the train, and the switchman, and hanging around a fire. And then at one point he says, "All right, whoever wants to get back on the train, go to your spot." And I was like, "Shit on this."
Yeah.
I said, "Point me to the highway." He said, "Right, it's that way." I go, "Okay." So I fell back asleep, and then all of a sudden, I hear this roar coming down, and it's another train. And I wasn't thinking, but along with as soon as it goes by me, the fire flies up in the air. There's sparks everywhere.
Whoa.
And I'm like, oh man, I jump up, get away from all the sparks. And so then I head up over the desert. I got about a mile or so.
Are you walking?
I'm
now
walking.
at this
I'm
point?
walking towards the highway.
Okay.
And it's about a mile or more. I really can't see the highway yet, but I know it's. Man told me it was that way, so I trusted him.
Okay.
I'm walking, and it's
Wow.
cool because they have jackalopes. These rabbits with these huge
Wow.
legs,
Yeah, I've heard
big
of
ears.
those.
Yeah, I got to see all kinds of stuff. Walking
Was there a road you're walking on?
No,
or
I was just walking across
you
the
were just
desert.
walking. Oh, my
Just
goodness.
walking in between the cactuses.
Did you have a compass with you?
No.
Oh, you just walked.
Nope, I just-
randomly walked.
He told me it was that way,
Okay.
and I went that
Oh
way.
my goodness. So,
So
I'm
finally-
curious to see how this ended up.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I end up, this is a great adventure, like I said, and I'm sure other people that had these that did what we did, and they had even better ones that were just as good. But okay, so I get to the road, I get to the highway. I'm like, all right, I'm here. So I stick my thumb out, and a van picks me up, and it turns out they're a bunch of missionary people. And I say, oh, they say, man, where am I going? I said, well, so I'm going to El Paso. And I did that because I was going this way. They said, oh, El Paso's back the other way. I said, oh my goodness. I said, well, drop me off and I'll go across the road and get there. He said, well, if you want, they said, we're going to, I don't know how they did it. We're going to this Mexican village to do Sunday prayer service.
Oh, wow.
He said, you want to come? I said, yeah, sure. You know, what else do I got to do, right? I'm an adventurer.
Let me check my schedule. Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
yeah, I'm an adventurer, you know. So they give me a sandwich and a bottle of soda,
Wow.
and we turn off the highway and drive a ways. And next thing you know, I swear to you, we're in this little village with adobe huts.
Wow.
I mean, adobe roofs,
Wow.
and donkeys in the freaking
Wow.
in the yard,
And
like penned in.
what state were you in again?
This was in between. It turned out I was about 60 miles from El Paso,
Okay.
so Texas.
In Texas or
In
on the way to
Texas.
Texas?
No, well, no, I was in Texas is
'Cause that's a big
999
state.
miles. So, but I was going in between San Antonio and El Paso.
Okay, gotcha.
So I was at San Antonio. My destination was
Wow,
El
that's
Paso.
amazing.
And it turned out I was about 60 miles from El Paso.
Okay. So you're in Texas, 60 miles from El Paso.
So we turn off this road and we get into this village, and it was great. I went to the church, and there's all these Mexican people, and they're in there. And we're all you know, listening to the services. And I just remember to this day, it's funny. They had me read the scripture of, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of death, I fear no evil,
It's amazing. You gave me chills
because I'm the
just
evilest."
now.
Because I'm the evilest motherfucker in the valley. No, because I'm.
Well,
That's
I
the
know
Marine
this-
thing. That's the Marine thing.
That's
the opposite.
That's okay.
But anyway, I fear no evil.
That's the Good Shepherd's the scripture for when people usually pass away. They read that at funerals, but it's also it's for everyday life.
Right, exactly.
No matter where you go, where you walk, like you were.
Right, right. So
Randomly
you're
walking,
not afraid. You're not afraid
trusting in the goodness of humanity
of
and
humanity
God's
and the
Spirit,
Father up
and
above.
being generous.
I'm going to say this right away.
taking
I
care of you.
am like all religions.
And you read that.
I believe in Hindu.
Yeah.
I believe in Judaism. I believe in Catholicism, Buddhism, Hinduism. I believe in all of it.
You embodied it yourself in that service,
Right.
and they asked you to read it. How serendipitous that
It
was.
was great. It was a lot of fun. So, and then after church, I was out there talking to the kids, and I smoked cigarettes all my life. So I'm sitting down smoking my cigarette, and the oldest, there's a bunch of kids come up, and the oldest one, he's like, "Can I get a cigarette?" So I gave him the cigarette, gave him a light, and it was so cool because it was cool at the time, you know. But here he was smoking a cigarette, you know, and so he, and none of the other kids could do that, but he could. And so he was kind of like, that was his important moment. He stood out for the rest of his life in that village, I'm sure, because I happened to be there,
You engaged
and
with him.
the universe put us all together. You know?
Yeah, it was a moment.
Right. Yeah. So
Wow.
so anyway, so the day is over, and I go to I get to El Paso, and I check into the what is it called?
Did they drive you to El Paso?
Yeah, they drove me. Yeah, because they were
Another
going
hour.
back.
Oh, okay.
They were going back.
Oh, right.
They were going back to El Paso.
Gotcha.
They just had left El Paso to go
Yeah.
to this little town to
Understood.
do services.
Right.
So it was great. You know, we talked about it on the way back, and they were cool. They didn't try to like sell me into some big religious thing or
Right.
or you know, or capture me.
Sure.
I got away.
Convert
They
you
were
or
just
whatever.
they were just cool people.
They welcomed you.
Yeah, so they dropped me off, and I went to the center. Like they had like, in some places they had what's that place called? It's a thrift store too.
Yeah.
Salvation
oh,
Army.
Salvation Army.
Yeah, they have
Sure.
Salvation Army.
Relief services
They had
kind of place.
they had churches
Mhm.
that you could go, and they would let you stay for the night.
Yeah.
They had big dorms, you know.
Mhm.
Well, I checked in and I saw the guy that told me about the drive.
Really?
Yeah, he was
Oh
there.
my gosh.
And I was like, hey, dude. He said, oh, man, he said, you ready to go do another one? I said, nah, I don't think so. I let him go. But anyway, but I did jump on a train myself. I jumped on a car, which is cool because I learned young in life. You take a stick, a board, and you put it in the track so that the door does not close all the way on you. You leave it open like that
Sure.
much. Because if it does, you get locked in.
Yeah.
You know, you're a skeleton.
Yeah. You never know when.
So you never know.
Right.
And so I took all my necessities, which is
Wow.
you take a little bottle of liquor, you take some beanie weenies, because you can eat those cold, and
Are they canned
and some
hot
crackers.
dogs?
Yeah, you jump on the train with all that. You
Is
know.
a beanie weenie canned hot
Beanie-
dogs?
yeah,
Okay.
canned
Yeah,
hot
I remember
dogs.
that little
Yeah,
can.
yeah. Campbell's.
So you take things that will stay well over
Right,
time.
exactly.
That you don't need to
And
refrigerate.
I had my my P-52, which is a military
Little tool.
little
that
can
helps
opener.
You. Yeah, helps you.
So yeah, and so I jump on this train and I'm heading for Albuquerque. And in the middle of the desert during the day, it stops. Like, oh shit! So they're dropping off cars. I get a hold of the switchman. Which switchmans are pretty cool back then. You know, they let you go. And I said, hey, I said, what's going on? He said, oh man, he said, they're dropping cars off. I said, wow, where do I go? He says, you know what? Because every long run train has 3 engines. And he said, go to the 3rd engine of there. He said, the heater's on. He said, and there's a water cooler in there. He said, just jump out before you get to the yard.
Oh.
Like, cool. So
Wow. Great tip.
yeah. So I waited for him to go away because, you know, he can't see me and I got to be sneaky.
Sure.
So I get in there, I get into that 3rd car and hunker down, got my sleeping bag, and lay it down on the floor. And I'm warm, I'm drinking water. And sure enough, the next morning, that's it, I stayed there all night.
Wow.
And the next morning, maybe it was all night, I don't know. Anyway, I jump out, it was early in the morning, and I know we're slowing down. I look and I could see the yard. I'm like, okay, it's slowing down, and I jump off, and it was like a little bit of a dusting of snow. I'm like, oh shit, it's cold out here, you know. But I get onto the street, and there's this restaurant, and I go in there and I say, told the woman, I said, listen, I said, I don't have any money. I said, but I'll wash dishes, I'll clean the floor, whatever. I said, can I get a meal from you? And she started crying. I felt down, like, oh my gosh. I didn't mean to scare you or nothing, you know. So she said, oh no. She said, my brother's out there, and he's doing what you're doing, and I'm so worried about him. I said, oh, he's cool, don't worry about it. So she fed me, gave me a good meal, it was great. And
She saw her brother in you and wanted to help.
yeah, she wanted to help me. So, you know, it was a great time to be on the road. Nowadays, it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
But so I left out.
So where were you? Did you ever
Albuquerque.
find out? Oh, Albuquerque.
Albuquerque.
You were in
Oh
Albuquerque.
yeah, I knew I was in Albuquerque.
You
I could
were.
look up
Okay.
and I could see the snow on the top of the
Wow.
mountains. It
And
was
do you know
so
what time
cool.
of year it was by any chance?
It was warm enough. I want to say it was because I remember it was warm and
Yeah.
why is there a cloud? I mean,
Yeah.
it was in the summer.
Yeah.
It was in the summertime. It was in the summertime.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was able to. Yeah, I know. I know it was in the summertime. So I had to, you know, and like I said, I was a working hippie,
Yeah.
so I had to make some money.
Yeah.
And Albuquerque's a huge place.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, but first, before I could do that, I walked into town. It was a pretty big city, you know. Not even a town, it's a city. And believe it or not, they had. I went to the campus because I went to a lot of campuses. Campuses are cool. You could sit on in classes. Like I sat in classes for philosophy and
Wow.
psychology and stuff like that. You know, because I wanted to know something about it. And they didn't really care who you know. You just sit there. Anyway, so I go to the college and see what's going on, and they had a what was that guy who did the It was a transcendental meditation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I went in there and they had transcendental meditation. I said,
Wow.
wow, what's this, you know? And it turns out it was kind of complicated
Mm.
because, you know, you had to have this mantra that you had to create and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't want to do that.
Right.
So I left out and I went to a labor pool and I told them, you know, I'm looking for work. They sent me all the way out the other end of the city to this little place, a little gas station run by this Mexican dude. Two Mexican dudes. One was the boss and the other was a follower during the day. But I worked at night with another Mexican guy, and I was a pump jockey of gas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because we were always supposed to pull up the hood and check the oil. And if it had a half a quart of oil missing, you want to sell them. You want to try to sell them that. You don't even tell them. Just, oh man, looks like you need some oil here. We got this good oil that's on sale, and that was our big thing. We had to sell oil.
Nice.
And believe it or not, I stayed in the back room where they changed tires during the day. That's where I slept. 'Cause I had nowhere to go, you know. And stayed there. It was fun. I don't remember. It's funny. I was thinking last night when I was going to tell this story today. What I ate during the day, I don't remember. But I knew at night there was this guy or woman who come in this cart and had homemade tamales.
Nice.
You know, with the corn husks
Oh
on
my
it.
goodness. They
We
are
go out-
amazing.
Yeah, we
I
go
love
out there and I get a
tamales.
couple of those,
Wow.
and that seems like that's what we ate. And I think that's what we ate. And I got along real well with the guy, you know. We had a lot of fun, and but you know it's funny. I don't know if anybody else experienced this, but when you travel and you go places, you always want to fit in. My mom always said, "When in Rome, do as the Romans do." So I kind of like became a chameleon of sorts, and I found myself even after like a week or so with a Mexican accent because of this guy next to me, this Mexican accent. And so, you know, and it was so funny. But anyway, after about a week or 2 weeks, the guy started ripping us off, man. He said that one night we were $10 short in the register. We said, nah, there's no way we're $10 short in the register. We don't take the money. You know we don't. We're not We're not thieves. And then he got me again, and that's when I quit. And I'm really protected. You know, they say, I don't know, I always believe that God protects the stupid. And,
Your intuition tells you what to do.
Pardon me?
You listen to your intuition.
Intuition, yes.
And then you do what
Right.
you need to do.
But sometimes my intuition tells me the wrong things, and that's right. That's where God protects the stupid comes in because I found myself when I got out of there, no place to stay, and I got to spend the night because I don't want to. There's no way to get out, you know, in my mind. There's no way. I got to wait till the morning before I can continue my journey.
Gotcha.
I've got to
And
hunker
you didn't
down.
really feel comfortable
Right,
spending
you have to
the night.
hunker down for the night.
Sure, understood.
Always.
Right.
And so I tried to actually break into this, I guess it was a hotel. I actually tried to break into the window, and I couldn't do it. And so that's the beautiful thing about it. So I figured something else out. I don't know. I maybe went in the bushes and just slept. I don't know what I did. But and then I left there, and I meet this chick picks me up. I hope you don't mind me saying that.
No, not at all.
And she's got a child, maybe a boy or girl. I don't know what it was. Maybe a girl, maybe 4 or 5 years old. And she's going to California, but she needs somebody to drive because she's tired. Hey, great. She got a license. I said, yeah. Show her my driver's
Nice.
license.
Nice.
I get in the seat, and she gives me a hit of speed, and I'm ready to drive all night. So,
Okay.
but the bad part was, I took a wrong turn, and I got us on the same route. I got us there. I got us to Needles, California.
Is that where you were destination?
Well,
your destination was
kind of,
there,
sort of.
or- Oh,
You know, we got to Needles,
okay.
and but I made a wrong turn, and so she was out of gas.
Oh,
And she had a credit card, which was not good. And so we went to the gas station. She went to the gas station and give the guy the card, and the guy's, nah, this is not good. And the poor dear, this is a true story. I had to wait in the car with her daughter or son, whatever it was, while she went and around the back and discussed with the attendant how to get her tank full. But you know, that was the risk, I guess, that people took. So you had to say, well, you know what? And it was a summer. Really, it was years of free love, what they call free love, and so like sex was not really a big thing and all that. But I just remember I felt so bad because you know, whether she wanted it or not, she had to do that to survive. And I was just so like, wow, honored to know somebody with that strength. They could actually go, okay, I'll do this just to get on my journey.
Sure.
Amazing shit. So, needless to say, she dropped me off. But
Where did she drop you off?
at Needles, right?
At
Needles.
Okay.
And anybody that was there in the 70s, and there's a lot of people got stuck there because Needles is one of these places where it was in the middle. It was like nowhere, in the middle of nowhere. And everywhere you looked, like, okay, there was like an overpass. Been here 20 days. On the wall,
Really?
writings.
Oh.
Been here 18 days.
Oh, wow.
Been here 5 days. All these,
Wow.
I'm looking around going, oh shit.
Almost like a jail. Needles jail.
Needles, well, not really jail,
Or,
but
I don't
purgatory.
Oh, purgatory.
Where,
Oh, my
you're
God.
stuck.
You're
You can't
stuck.
get out.
So did you get
There-
out?
there-
Obviously.
I did.
How many days later?
That day.
That day.
That day.
So Jay
I'm
had
blessed. I'm telling you, I'm
0
blessed.
days or 1 day.
This is crazy. So I go in, they have a public public restroom.
Yeah.
I go into the public restroom. It's like a rest area type
Yeah.
of place. I go into the public restroom and I'm doing my thing, and wash my hands, and this old guy comes next to me, and I say, hey, I said, you wouldn't want to give me a ride. I'm trying to get to California, to LA. That was my next, from Needles, you want to go to LA. From LA, you want to go to San Diego, San Francisco, keep going up the coast. So, and he said, yeah, matter of fact, yeah. I'm like, holy
Oh
smokes.
my goodness! Wow.
So, there it is again. I'm blessed.
God is good to you.
I'm blessed.
And continues to be. Was, is, and will be.
So we get out there, and he's got a Cadillac, and his grandchild, and a poodle. And
I thought he'd be a trucker, honestly, but
he
no.
was
Cadillac.
He was an old guy.
With a poodle and his daughter.
And his daughter. He had a little granddaughter up in the front with him.
Wow.
And the poodle's in the back, and I go in the back
With the poodle.
with the poodle. And I go to sleep, man, the poodle. We go to sleep.
Well, all right, could you tell me, was it a full, I'm curious,
It was a
full
Cadillac.
size,
Oh,
full
yeah.
size poodle?
No.
A little poodle. What color was it? I'm just trying to
White?
picture you.
I want to say white. It was a
little
little white
white
poodle. Yeah, I
poodle,
mean, that's
okay.
all I can
So
remember.
there
It's just
was
one of these
room for
little
you.
white miniature poodles, you know. And so
And you got along great with
I
the
slept
poodle?
there. I went to sleep, and the poodle went to sleep with
Okay,
me.
very good. It's all happy.
So, yeah. So I get up, I wake up, and we're outside of L.A.
Okay.
I slept good.
Wow.
Anyway, because I did that episode
Sure.
with that hit of speed.
And now it's time to wind down.
Yeah, wind down. I wake up, so I get to L.A. and oh my gosh, it's freaking smog
Oh.
everywhere.
Wow.
Smog. I'm like, holy
Wow.
shit, I'm not staying here long.
Yeah.
Well, I end up downtown, and there was like a square, and all around this square are these Mexican people selling food and different things. It was so cool.
Wow.
I'm like, yeah, man, this is the place to be, you know. I just wandered around. I got some food and stuff, and I got out of there though, because like I said, it was smoggy. I didn't want to stay. I got out, and I don't really, you know, there's a lot of blank spaces in there.
Did you get out that day? Or
I might have.
a day or two?
I remember sitting. I remember sitting at the park. It was cold. It got cold at night. I remember sitting at the park, kind of chilly, sleeping on the bench. I slept on the bench that night, you know.
But the next day you probably
No, the next day I was out of there.
And you
Yeah, I got to the
hitchhiked, or-
highway.
Yeah.
Always hitchhiking, except for I you know, like in Texas, I took the trains. But other than that, there was no really trains after that I would. There was just all hitchhiking.
Right.
But so now where am I now? So So I'm leaving. I'm leaving L.A.
Really.
and I'm headed for San Diego
Mhm.
area or that way.
Mhm.
And I don't know. That's like I say, that was kind of like, I think there's blank spaces. That might have been where I learned how to play Amazing Grace on my harmonica.
Wow.
Because I remember myself waiting 2 or 3 hours just waiting there, and I had my little harmonica with me, and just I never, I didn't know. So anyway, I had Amazing Grace came in my brain, and I learned how to play it right there, and I still play it. I still play it to this day. But so then another. Let me see. Then I don't remember. Like say, okay, I remember this dude picking me up, and you worry about sometimes guys picking you up. You know, there was alternative reasons why people would invite you to their home besides that they wanted to be nice. So, but this guy's cool. We stop at the grocery store. He buys steaks, buys me 2 packs of cigarettes. We go back to his house, and he offers to do my laundry, and I might have denied it because that puts you
In a vulnerable
yeah, that
position.
puts you vulnerable. So I, no, I'm cool. Anyway, so we hung out and talked, and we ate, and I guess we even had some drinks or beer or something. And the next day, I go to leave, and he drops me off. He says, "Oh, come on." He says, "I'm going to get you to where you can get a ride." And he drops me off on the side of the road. Now this was this was actually, I remember being in it was San Francisco. That's where this guy was, in San Francisco. So in between there and there, I think there was some chick that I got a ride with at one point. After I learned the Amazing Grace, and she took me for a good ride. And I don't know, but like anyway, so he drops me off at this little rest area type thing, and he gives me $5. I said, whoa. I said, "You've already done this." I said, "I don't need the money." He said, "No." He said, "This is different." He said, "Take this $5." He said, "And when you've got money, and you see somebody that needs it," he said, "you give them the 5 and tell them to pass it on."
What an angel, right?
Yeah.
These are
So,
angels in life.
In my lifetime, I probably passed that $5 on, I don't know, 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
at least, because that was just the way, I learned. And so then I actually got up from there. I don't remember. I remember the next thing is getting to Occidental. Cool little place. And I ended up walking, which we drove, Catherine and I drove from Occidental to the commune site.
Was that then, or in?
But
Like she was with you at this
Catherine and I
point?
years later.
Oh, later.
Years
You
later,
revisited it
like
with
we
Catherine.
revisited
Oh,
maybe
okay.
5 years ago.
Gotcha.
This
And
is
you-
220.
You retraced your steps there.
Yes,
Yeah.
maybe more than that. Maybe 8 years ago, 9 years ago, because I wanted to see what was going on,
Sure.
and plus I wanted to see Bill.
Oh.
He was still alive at that time.
Now, who was Bill?
Bill Wheeler. He was the
Oh,
owner.
the guy that
The-
you
the-
went to see to begin with.
Right, he was the owner. Right. That
And-
was that's the journey from New Orleans. My
Right.
journey, everything I've said is to get me to
Bill.
Wheeler's Ranch.
Wheeler's Ranch.
Bill and Sarah's
And where were
place.
they again? Remind me.
Occidental,
Oh, in
Occidental,
Occidental.
California.
So you ultimately
8 miles
got
west
there.
of Santa Rosa.
Okay.
So ultimately, I get there,
Get to Bill.
and
Okay.
I walked. I remember walking. People said, "Oh yeah, come on, we'll walk with us."
Yeah.
So I remember walking, and it didn't seem that long. I guess because I was young. But anyway, I get onto the commune, and what a place! What a place! It's freaking amazing.
Wow.
We got a community library with all kinds of books, piano, a record player with classical records, different records. A lot.
It's like
I
a
guess
community living situation.
it was community living
and
thing.
arts and everything.
People had homes. What they did was he had 100 acres of land willed to him by his grandparents, and he opened it up for the sake of taxes. He said it's God's land. He said, "I don't own it, it's God's land." And the only stipulation he made of anybody that wanted to build a home was that before you built a home, you had to go and talk to any neighbors that you had in sight of you in any direction and ask them if that was far enough away.
Wow.
So consequently,
That's awesome.
there was very few, there was only 8, 10 I don't know, maybe I know somebody. All I know is
A
about
limited amount of homes
about 10 homes.
based on the
Right.
geographical
Exactly. You know, like,
situation.
oh no, bro, I'm sorry. You know,
Right.
I could still see you, and I really want to
Right.
because now and when like I say, I went back there,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 8 years ago, and there were people still there. They're hermits. You know, they're total
Wow.
hermits. You know, you don't even see them. They wouldn't even come out of their homes.
Is it still called Wheeler's Ranch?
Wheeler's
or
Ranch?
It's
Uh-huh.
still called
Now,
Wheeler's?
you know what? Bill Wheeler passed on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's 5 years or more ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure if he had what happened.
Sure.
I'm not sure what happened
Right.
to his place.
Yeah.
But he was an amazing man. He was
That
an
is
artist.
amazing.
He was an artist, and
Unbelievable.
and a what would you call somebody that looks into the future and
Oh, clairvoyant kind
no,
of person.
no,
A prophecy.
no, no,
Oh.
no. It's got to do with getting things together.
Oh.
Anyway.
Oh, like a visionary, someone
Right.
who
He
could,
had a visionary. His visionary was to have this commune, and it was a beautiful place. Like I said, we had Sundays.
ahead of his time kind of
Oh,
thing. You know.
on Saturday nights, all the mamas would get together in the bakery. 'Cause we had a bakery there too, and they would get all the dough and everything and start
Wow.
making the bread and whatever food was going to be made.
I want to live there.
for the Sunday for the Sunday get together.
Wow.
And so you go down and you know if you're smart,
Yeah.
you go down on Saturday night and you help.
And you help out.
And because you get food, you know,
Right.
it's extra food.
That's your.
We were
right.
back in those days, you know, I was
Yeah.
20s and I was starving, always
Yeah.
starving, always hungry.
Yeah.
And anyway, the mamas they were pretty nice to be around, you know.
It's a familial
Yeah, you know,
surroundings to
well,
be
and 'cause
a
there's-
hominess.
Yeah, and all
Yeah.
all the women back then, you know, they call them hippie mamas, you know. They were all there was always like they were like Catherine and yourself. They were concerned about people. They wanted to, you know, they wanted to get things together and
Yeah.
and do join things and it was just it was a beautiful life.
A loving atmosphere.
It was a loving atmosphere. It sure was. And so Sunday morning we started out, and I participated a lot in the Sunday morning. What do you call it? Saunas.
Yeah.
So we had a sauna tent with sauna, and we'd go there early, and we built a big fire and take rocks and put the rocks in
Wow.
there, and so they're nice and hot. And then from there, the other guy would take with a pitchfork and bring them in the tent as you know as people went in, and do the sauna. And when they came out, I hosed them off, cool them down, you know, and you know kept things together. And then once all that was done, then we go to the community gathering and have lunch, whatever, you know, all these different food people would make. Oh, it was great.
A
And-
buffet of potluck buffet. Kind
Right. Well, you know, I mean, there was a lot of rice dishes, a lot of vegetarian dishes because we didn't have too much meat. And
Did
but
you play music?
yes. There was this guy. He was a flautist. Oh my gosh, he was so cool. He had a silver flute, and he'd always go, "Oh yeah, if I was what's that guy from sitting on a park bench?" And
I'm not sure.
Iron Little Girls with bad intent. Jethro Tull. Jethro Tull, yeah. He's like, oh yeah, Jethro Tull. He had a gold flute, you know. But the nice guy, he was really, really good. He was kind of full of himself, but
Yeah.
but he was funny. He used to say, because I was smoking cigarettes. He's like, you smoking cigarettes? He said, why don't you just go to that bus and when they turn it on, just suck on that tailpipe. That was his big thing. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just suck on that tailpipe because he hated cigarettes.
Okay.
But
Everyone has an opinion.
right, everybody has an opinion, and but it was great, and yeah, we played a lot of music, and and then this girl wrote a book. It was called, and she's still I know she's probably still alive, living in LA somewhere, but she wrote a book called How to Survive in the Wilderness, and went wild.
Wow.
And she on her profits, she hired this student of Timothy Leary, who was the acid guy. You know,
Oh yeah.
he was a student, and it was in it was right over there by Santa Rosa. Wasn't even a town. Anyway, it was a little bitty town. And he was a student of him, and hired him to he was a chemist of his, and hired him to make all these hits of acid, and there were 1,000 mic clear light hits of acid, and they were in his little vitamin bottles, you know, like screw tops, and so what we did was there was one spot, and I could still see it in my mind. Everybody got to this one spot, and this guy had a pocket knife, and he'd do that, and he'd dip it in there, and whatever was on there, 1 or 2, whatever. Yeah, you throw that, and you did your acid.
Wow.
Well, there was about 125 of us at this gathering, living there, and we all tripped for days. Days.
So did he use the same knife for everyone?
Everyone, sure.
So everyone shared
Of course, sure.
saliva germs?
Of course, there's no saliva germs. These are acid. It was all acid, you know.
And for days, like how many days?
Oh, 2 or 3 at least.
Okay.
At least 2 or 3 days, because we probably did
And did
more.
you do any other, like, so when you're on the acid trip, did you do other things? Did you
Well,
sleep in
this one here
between,
got crazy.
Did you eat or sleep in between?
You know what? I remember going down. I remember walking down there and watching somebody brush their hair,
Okay.
and it seemed like they were pulling chunks out of their hair, and I was like,
Oh my goodness.
oh my gosh, what is that? But you know, that was only one crazy thought. But a lot of crazy things happened because there was this guy, and he was like, oh man, he had like the devil in him.
Oh.
Well, he was walking across the fires, you know, we had a
On the-
big
yeah.
fire, and he walked across the fire. This that guy ended up, I guess from that night he ended up, he took the chalks off of the community bus, because it was a great bus. We used to we went to different colleges, and that's where I met on that bus. They dropped us off. I met Swami Satchidanandas,
Oh wow.
and got
He
to talk
opened
to
for Woodstock.
Swami Satchidanandas.
Yeah,
Yes,
he was the guy who gave the blessing at Woodstock.
Right.
He was.
I
That was pretty amazing. You met him.
I saw him in a little town, a little college. It begins with an S, and I'm just trying to remember the name of it, and I cannot remember.
That's okay.
Anyway,
So you ran into Swami.
there was all these there was like 4 swamis,
Okay.
and he was the last one. And he goes, he says, you notice? He said, I'm not looking. I don't have a watch. He said, all these other so-called swamis, they all have watches in there, and they're all worried about their times. He said, I'm not worried about time. And he just said so many things that were so enlightening
Wow.
and visionary to me. And I was so impressed with the man. And when it was all over, I even followed him, you know. And I was like, wow, you know, I just wanted to say thank you, and you know, and whatever, you know. And
Sure.
he acknowledged me, and then he went away. But years later, I never forgot his name. And years later, I was at Bethel Woods about 3 years ago,
Oh.
and this guy had a picture of him. And I said,
That's
"That's Swami
Swami?
Satchidanandas. Where did
Wow.
you get that from?"
Wow.
And he said, "Oh yeah, he opened up for Woodstock," which I
Yeah.
didn't even know
Oh.
at the time. I
Yeah.
didn't know till 4 or 5 years ago.
I actually have I do Woodstock tributes, and I typed in his whole spiel of what the blessing that he gave.
Right.
So when I do the tributes, I actually reiterate
Oh.
exactly what he said.
He was a beautiful man.
Yeah.
I guess he's still around. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's a beautiful man.
It was a beautiful message of unity and hope
Right.
and peace for the world and for America in general, because, you know, just coming off the cusp of the Vietnam War,
Right.
and or I don't know if it ended at that point in '69, but I think it was
72.
still going on.
72.
But it was a message of hope and the shift, you know, riding the shift towards peace.
Exactly. He and Ravi Shankar,
Yeah. Yeah.
two
That's
very
amazing.
influential people in all of our
Wow.
lives.
So you met him,
So
and then
anyway, this was on the bus that this guy destroyed. Anyway, he pulled
Oh,
the
the
chalk
chalk,
off.
the chalk
he,
on the bus.
He pulled the chalks off the bus and crashed it. And then
what
later
does
on,
that mean? Pull the chalk. What is that?
behind the wheels, you got these wood chalks
Oh.
that keep the bus or vehicle, truck,
From
whatever, from sliding
sliding.
forward or
Okay.
backwards if there's a hill, you know.
Okay.
And so he took the ones off the
and
back
he caused it to roll.
and caused it to roll.
And where did it go?
I don't know.
crashed
It
and-
crashed, and then he actually burnt the library down, which was a terrible thing. But
He must have had a bad trip with the acid.
He had a very bad trip. But you know, these are things that not everybody had. This is only one person, and even though we're like, oh, you know, we were all mad at him, but I don't, you know what? And nobody attacked the dude, and I think he just finally told him he's got to leave. You know, he's got to get out of here.
Yeah, he was
But
causing
nobody,
havoc.
you know, back then we were hippies. We were peaceful people. We didn't go beat the guy up and say, "Oh man,
Right.
get out of here, man." You know, that's not where it was at.
What an interesting
Yeah.
bunch of stories you're
Oh,
telling
right.
today.
And
Hippie stories.
yeah, and so, but when I ended up leaving, it was one of the best things. There was this a group of people, guys, so tripped out anyway. They called themselves the what's that? The Marvel. Captain. They make all the Marvel Captain.
Yeah.
This one guy, he was Captain America.
Captain America.
And he had his flag and his thing, and he'd jump up, Captain America, and all these other people would come around, and they would be other characters from that Marvel comics,
Sure.
and they were a great group of dudes. But anyway, the only reason why I said that was because of this girl that I left with. So this is another story. I'm getting ready to go. Before I left, I met this girl, beautiful woman, but she was a love child, you know, which we're in a commune, and that's where you meet love children. You know, I was a love child, but she was a girl, and you know, in other cases you might call her something else, but there she was doing what she wanted to do. She wanted to love everybody, and in her special way. And so I got some of that special treatment, as well as a lot of people did. And I was like, wow. Anyway, she says, well, she's going to get ready to go. And I'm like, you know, I'm getting tired of ready to go anyway. I mean, I have other experiences on there, which I can go into another time. But I'm ready to go. And I said, so where are you going? She said, well, I'm going to San Diego. She said, my father, she said, I'm going to San Diego. And I was like, I wonder. And she said something about her father and knows a fishing guy and a fishing. I don't know how I got to talking to her about fishing. And I said, no shit. I said, I want to work on a fishing boat. It's one of my dreams.
Really?
So, because everything I wanted to do, I did. I wanted to be a
Wow.
lumberjack. I did that.
Wow.
I wanted to work on fishing boats. I did
Wow.
that. I wanted to work offshore. I did that.
Wow.
Whatever I did, whatever I
Yeah.
wanted to do in life, I was blessed because it was the times. You know, 50s, 60s, 70s. Up into the 80s, there was jobs, and you could do anything you want. Anyway, she said, you know, I said, wow. I said, you know, he can introduce me to somebody else. I said, okay, I'm going to leave with you. Well, we didn't get too far, maybe 50 miles, and I had to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So what's going on here? You know, I feel it burning.
Uh-oh.
So what happened was this
because of
sweet
all the
young
sex.
lady, she gave me the clap. Well, it turns out, and the reason why I'm saying this, it turns out because later on there's a guy who's the historian for this, and also for the people who were on another commune, which was called Morning Star, and it's a diggers site. It's the diggers. People know if they know back in the day, they know about the diggers. Anyway, there was somebody. Somebody talked about a story, and they talked about the people, the Captain America group, and how they swore that they got this clap from this one girl, and the same one I got it from. So there was like many of us that she spread her love to. But anyway,
With love with a little special present.
love with a little special present. But it was a great trip out because I remember on the way we hitchhike out, and we always got rides because of her. She was gorgeous anyway. And the first ride we get, this guy, we're driving, and he says, you want to drive for me? I was like, of course. So him and her, they get in the back seat, and
Watch out.
and which I didn't really care because this is we're hippies, and this is
You
what
could have
do.
warned him.
No, no,
You could have just went like this. That's
no,
all.
oh, you know what? I wasn't even thinking. I wasn't even
Get
thinking
it.
about it. I wasn't even thinking about it because I really didn't. I didn't really know what I'd never had it before.
Okay.
I didn't really know.
It wasn't
It was
really
just burning,
appropriate to
Yeah,
say.
it wasn't appropriate. But anyway, the funny thing was, I'm looking in. They're back there, and I'm looking in my rearview mirror, and I swear I see a school bus, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing a lot of acid, smoking a lot of drugs. I'm going to slow down. I slow down and I look in the mirror, and this bus is gone. Like, whoa, that keep going. And I look in the mirror and there's that bus again. I'm like, oh man.
That's weird.
I slow down and look in there and it's gone.
What
So
the heck?
I figured they had enough time. I pulled off the side of the road. I said, listen, I said, when you're done, I said, that's fine. I said, I'm not driving anymore. So I pulled off the side of the road, took a walk, you know. And so we ended up in San Francisco. And we stopped off at this guy's house. And then from there, we went to L.A., to Anaheim. She knew a bunch of kids there, and they were students. And they had this, they all shared this, they were students and workers, I guess. They all shared this big house. It was like 5 rooms, you know. And they were cool. They were cool. One guy had his I remember he had big, what do you call it, those big red dogs.
Clifford? I'm joking.
No, it's
There's a children's book called Clifford.
yeah, Clifford. I know Clifford. Yeah, Clifford, the big red dog. Clifford, the big
I worked
red
at a
dog.
pre-K.
I love Clifford,
I have
the
a
big
lot
red
of
dog.
children's stories.
I've
Not like your
I've read that to
hippie
children.
stories now.
No. Anyway, so it's an Irish setter. He's got an Irish setter. And he
they're
swears that this
beautiful.
Irish
I
setter
love
is like,
Irish
you know,
setters.
understands him.
Oh,
Because we were all into, it was a spiritual thing, and we it was an awakening time. Those, the 70s were awakening, late 60s, early 70s, when people awoke. I mean, we did acid not to trip and go crazy
Yeah.
or see things. We did it to expand our mind
Yeah.
and to get you know, feelings in there and different things that you would never
Sure.
dream of. Like, yeah, you know, a dog actually hears you. And nowadays, people actually know for sure.
Sure.
That when you talk to your dog, it understands you.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of animals understand you. We have a communication we don't, they can't vocalize with us, but
Yeah.
it's there. Anyway, so it was great. They had a swimming pool.
Is that where the boat? What you said? You
No,
were
no, not
San
yet,
Francisco?
not yet,
No,
not yet.
okay.
No, so I was there. So I hung out at that house, and that was the same thing. Everybody was just loving each other. You know, it was a great place. And which funny thing, I did go one time to a one of those one of these meetings. You know, because everybody out. I walked out in the streets, and people would say to me, "Oh, hey," you know, I talked to them for a little while. I said, by the way, who's your therapist? I was like, therapist? What are you talking about? I said, I'm not a therapist. Oh, you don't have a therapist? Oh my gosh! You know, 'cause everybody, that's California. 70s, everybody had a therapist, you
Okay.
know, or a guru or
Okay.
something, you know,
Oh,
to
gotcha.
keep you on
A spirit
path.
guide or something.
Yeah, a spirit guide.
Okay.
I was like, well, this is crazy. Well, so I took some acid one night, and I went to one of these group meetings, and I swear they thought I was a guru. 'Cause I was so high, like, you know, giving these simple
You were the
answers.
therapist.
I was like, you know,
You were the guru.
I was the guru there, you know, and I wasn't even trying to be, but I was just high on acid, and I was like, yeah, you know, happy, and
Yeah.
and I was positive, and
Yeah.
and that's a lot of people, you know, were not positive. I think,
Yeah.
you know, people were looking for that.
I feel like you're that way now, in and amongst all of our music activities. You're very joyful and happy, and bring a joie de vivre a couple notches higher than everyone else in a way. Like you just add that special
Thank
love.
you.
Sprinkle your love around, and you and Catherine both have this nice energy, and it's always a pleasure. It's never not been a pleasure. It's always been a pleasure, and I'm
That's-
not just saying that.
Oh, no, I
It's
thank
true.
you. That-
It's really
we're-
true.
We're humbly blessed. We're humbly
really
blessed.
true.
I thank the Father for all of our blessings and for the joy that comes through us. We're like vessels,
Sure.
and things come to us, and we let it out.
Yeah.
We're just like,
So I want to hear. I do want to hear more and more and more.
I know,
but
but
I'm
it's-
going to stop this.
okay.
And then if you want to tape another.
Yeah, we can do that.
do
And-
another
and-
one
and-
now, or we can do it another time.
No, we'll do another one later, and
Okay.
then because it's getting beautiful out. A good day
Yeah.
for painting,
Yeah.
and so.
He
and-
said that because he knows I'm going to be painting. So
Of
you're being
course.
thoughtful to me.
No,
But
no,
I don't
mean,
mind
but
if
that's
you-
the way our world is
if
supposed
you
to be.
wanna-
It's not all about
If you
one
wanted
thing.
to go on, I don't have to do the
No,
painting.
no. I've got these. These are all implanted, and I've got more stories
So
on my
we'll
phone.
revisit this.
Yeah, we'll revisit, and I'll continue. And
From San
with-
Francisco.
From where I get to. You know, yeah, we're in San Francisco, and then the next stop is San Diego,
Okay.
and then I actually do get on the fishing boat.
Okay.
And
I'm going to start
what a great
there
time.
for the next one.
for the next
We're
time.
going to pick up with all of that so we can get the transition from that into the future stories that you have.
Thank
whatever
you,
they are.
thank you.
So I just want to say thank you, Jay Wallace, for being here with us today. And if you don't mind, would you mind, just so we have a reference, you're telling how old you are? Because,
Oh, 74,
okay. 'Cause
September 4th.
See, okay, because you're going back to, you started this when you were like 17, 18, the storytelling.
18,
right?
18 of my,
So
18.
that gives us a nice reference of, of all these years of
I'm pretty
what's
blessed
going
that
on.
I remember, I remember things. I remember things.
and this could be good food for your book,
It could.
if you ever were to make a book.
I have
I think it'd be
I
kind
have
of cool
stories
for
that you would not believe.
I think it would be
stories you
cool
would
to
not
make a
believe.
book. But that's not, no pressure there.
I need
Anyway,
a,
so thank you. Peace,
thank you,
love.
Debbie Fisher.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you to my
Jay's
wife
other
Catherine
half
for,
here hanging out with us.
for hanging.
And
Yeah.
being moral supportive there. So,
All right. Go ahead. You can turn it
thank
off.
you. And any parting words for the folks?
Oh no. Just stay blessed.
Stay blessed and keep having adventures.
Thank you.